You walk into a fancy boutique. Your heart is racing, your palms are a little sweaty. The lights are warm and soft, the marble floor shines, and right there, behind a spotless glass case, is the watch you've dreamed about, a Rolex Submariner. It's just under $10,000. You convince yourself it's worth every penny. This isn't just a watch, you think. It's a symbol. A piece of Swiss tradition, something made with care by expert hands in small towns tucked away in the mountains. But what if that wasn't true? What if I told you most of that Rolex wasn't even made in Switzerland? Not even close. Instead of snowy towns and cozy workshops, picture something else, giant buildings with harsh fluorescent lighting and endless rows of machines. Welcome to Shenzhen, China, actually the world's real watch capital. Over 95% of all watches, luxury or not, are produced there. Yes, even the one you might be wearing now. And we're not talking about knockoffs sold on sketchy street corners. These watches are made with high-end materials, sapphire glass, ceramic bezels, finely detailed dials. The exact same components used by big luxury names like Rolex, Omega, and Tag Heuer. It's not new, either. People in the industry have been whispering about this for years. A few online posts here and there, maybe a leaked video or two. But now, the secret is out in the open. Videos are circulating that show boxes filled with Rolex-style parts leaving factories in Guangdong, China. These aren't fake products. They're built on the same machines, by the same skilled workers, just without the final Rolex stamp. Some of these factories have stopped hiding and started speaking up. They even offer customers the option to buy these homage watches directly through apps like WeChat or Telegram. You skip the middleman, the overpriced store, and the long waiting lists. You get the same design, the same build, and sometimes even the same materials, for a fraction of the price. Now here's the part that really surprises people. That Swiss-made label everyone respects? It's more of a legal technicality than a guarantee of origin. According to Swiss law, only 60% of the watch's value, not the parts or labor, has to come from Switzerland to qualify. So your watch case, the dial, the strap, even the sapphire crystal might all be made and assembled in China. Then it's shipped to Switzerland, where someone installs a movement, polishes it, and closes the back. Boom, it's now legally considered Swiss-made. And it's not just Rolex. A former employee from a well-known Swiss brand said that even back in the 1970s, many components were already being sourced from Asia. He even shared proof, pictures, invoices, and examples of parts like dials and watch hands being made in China. Sometimes, even cheaper quartz movements were installed at the last minute. So why is this all coming to light now? The short answer, money and media. Luxury brands like Rolex, Omega, and Cartier spend huge amounts on advertising. Magazines and blogs don't want to upset the brands that pay their bills. Influencers get invited to events, gifted watches, and treated like royalty. Nobody wants to lose that. So the truth stayed hidden. Until the internet changed everything. And now, something wild has happened. Rolex, yes, the brand that never puts anything on sale, quietly started lowering prices. No big announcement, no public explanation. Just quiet price drops through select dealers in certain markets. Some models, like the Submariner and GMT Master 2, saw up to 20% cuts. And guess when this happened? Right after those factory videos from China went viral. Rolex doesn't do discounts. Their whole image is built on rarity and status. So if they're cutting prices, that's not strategy, it's damage control. Because if people start asking where these watches really come from, and why they cost so much, the whole image starts to collapse. And the language is changing too. People don't call these Chinese-made watches fakes anymore. They're called homage, parallel builds, or OEM, original equipment manufacturer. That means made the same way, just without the brand's paperwork. One insider even claimed some factories receive extra materials from official orders. Instead of throwing them away, they make more watches and sell them privately. Let's talk numbers. A Rolex that costs $10,000 in stores might only cost $1,200 to $1,500 to produce. Omega watches are often marked up 4 times their production cost. A smaller, more transparent brand like Christopher Ward promises not to go above 3 times. Experts estimate Rolex watches may be marked up 5 times, or more. It might sound outrageous, like customers are being ripped off. But here's the tricky part. You're not just buying a timepiece. You're buying what it represents. The look, the prestige, the recognition. You want someone to notice it on your wrist and be impressed. That feeling is what people are really paying for. But not everyone is buying into that illusion anymore. What used to be seen as fine craftsmanship and timeless tradition is now being exposed as clever branding. You take a factory-made item, add a fancy story, a stylish logo, and suddenly you can charge 10 times more. So, what's truly fake? The $300 homage that tells you exactly what it is, or the $15,000 Swiss-made watch that might have come from the same assembly line? It's a new era. One where people want facts, not fairy tales. Low-cost copies of expensive watches might seem like a smart deal at first, but they usually don't hold up under closer inspection. These knockoffs often use poor quality materials. The ticking is loud, there's no protection against water. And the metal can be so weak it scratches if you even brush it the wrong way. In humid weather, the glass may fog up. The watch might feel too light, the details might be sloppy, and if you're standing next to someone who knows watches, they'll notice it right away. But even if no one else knows, it still affects you. The moment you realize you're wearing something that isn't authentic, it changes how you feel. You walk into a room, and instead of feeling confident, you're nervous someone will look too closely at your wrist. That self-doubt starts to grow. And suddenly, the money you saved doesn't feel like such a win anymore. Now here's the twist. If so many luxury watches are actually assembled in foreign factories, often using workers and parts from China, and if most of the price comes from branding and marketing, then what are we really paying for? The truth is, the value isn't in the watch itself. It's in what the watch represents. It's the story, the feeling, the image. So technically, yes, luxury watches can be massively overpriced, but when it comes to emotions, it's different for everyone. If putting on a Rolex makes you feel proud, successful, or admired, then maybe the high cost feels justified. For many, it's not about the parts inside the watch, it's about how it makes them feel outside. But now that more people are learning how these luxury pieces are really made, the illusion is starting to crack. The fancy labels and shiny displays don't hold the same weight when you know what's really happening behind the scenes. You start to ask yourself, do I still want to buy into this system, or is it time to think differently? That's the real question. Will you still spend thousands on a watch now that you know it might be built in the same place as its cheaper version? Or has the magic worn off a little? Some people will keep chasing the dream, and that's okay. Others will look for something more honest. What would you choose? If this kind of truth-telling speaks to you, stick around. We've got more deep dives coming, peeling back the layers of luxury and image one story at a time.